It's Golden Hour Adventure Time, featuring everyday people doing extraordinary things. From the peaks of victory to the valleys of defeat, these are their stories. Now, from the back of the pack, your hosts, Justin and Robbie.
Hey everyone, at the time of this recording, we had read that the Black Canyon individual that broke the rules was suspended for 20 minutes, or got a time suspension of 20 minutes. It has now come out and said that he has been disqualified from the race. I think the community outroar actually made a difference. You'll hear a little bit of us talking about would the same individual that was in mid to back of the pack be given the same grace. And so I just wanted to clarify to everyone before the episode started that we recorded this prior to the decision coming out. And so anyway, enjoy the podcast. Oh, we're live. There was no countdown. That was weird. So if you're watching,
I saw the countdown.
Oh, you did? That was weird. I didn't
did.
see it. If you're watching via YouTube, you'll see just me looking at the screen, waiting on an announcement. So welcome to Golden Hour Adventures. We're already a mess, so here we go. Before we hit record, we were talking about tights and half tights and the kind of the trend that's coming out with more men being comfortable in their skin and wearing tights. Robbie's been a component of them for a long time. I'm just now starting to pick up on them, and I actually really like them. But Robbie, you've tried a couple different brands. Like what are you using? What are you liking?
So I mean, I have a pair of Brooks. The Brooks, I just wear them for short runs, and I'd never put anything in the pocket because I know they'll fall down. They're just not.
I think the Brooks
type.
work well with nothing in the pockets and just tights. I actually wore them on my run today, and I like them. They're comfortable. They have good material. But as far as putting anything in your pockets, forget about it.
Yeah, I was just messing around and put my phone in there, and as soon as I put the phone in, they start falling down. And I was all excited about a pair of rabbit tights that I got, winter tights. And I tried a bunch of different pairs on to make sure I got the right size, and those damn things will not stay up.
Really?
So my problem is I have a 30-inch waist, and I'm right in between all the manufacturers for small and medium. For some reason, 30 is like that magic number on the cups. And so with the Path projects that I got that I love, those Centennial half tights, I was like, screw it, I'm going with the small. And like when I take them off, so they have like on the bottom part of the half tight, they have like this something to keep the tights up. I don't know what it is. It's like rubber or something. But when I take those tights off, or the half tights off, I have a ring around my leg from them. So that's how much they're constricting my leg, but they don't move at all. And I've been running with 2 of my soft flask in each pocket, and they do not move.
Really?
Full soft flask. Which is kind of a game changer.
Path projects started making tights until you said something, but they do make some phenomenal shorts. And so it only makes sense that they get into half tights.
And the funny thing is, so I got a pair of John G half tights that I ordered. Especially after Cocodona, like John G, being the sponsor. We've talked about this before. You like their winter tights and have a pair of them. So I was like, well, they're on sale for Memorial Day on REI, and I was like, I'll just buy some. So I'm interested to see how those do. Being able to put, 2 more soft flasks in those short pants and those tights and not have them fall down has been pretty cool. But the problem again there is like I was reading the reviews and people are like, order a size down or order a size big. There was like different consensus for both of them. And when I was reading, the people where they were saying get a size bigger were bigger people.
Really?
Yeah, like anywhere from 6 foot, 200 plus pounds.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, that makes sense. We know running gear is not based off bigger body types for the most part. unfortunately. So I was like, well, I'm going a size down. So I went to my normal size that I usually get. But the new kicker is men complaining about their junk being able to be seen through half tights.
What? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, of course you're gonna have your junk be seen
So-
because you're wearing tights.
Right. So I guess there's companies, the one we were just looking at, they actually had a little thing on there where they've got a modest line or something like that.
Huh.
So like, and my path projects have them too, where it's just like another type of mesh in there where like, so it doesn't show like exactly everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just looks like a bulge, I guess.
Brooks does not.
No, the Brooks are like lycra, like old spandex,
Old
biker
spandex,
shorts.
looking like some European runners. What's those old school Killian videos where he's just wearing 100% lycra?
Oh, what's that one that's been going around? What's that new Instagram where the guy he does a bunch of stuff, but he picked up ultra running and he's got like Anton and Jeff Rose.
Oh yeah, and he voices them over. He does voiceovers on them.
Yeah.
Those are funny.
It just shows Anton
funny.
wearing like that singlet, like the onesie, running on Western States.
Those are funny.
And Jeff Rose is like, I can't be behind him or something like that.
Yeah,
oh, that guy's hilarious.
You know, you mentioned you know, tights and bigger people. Like, I mean, I wouldn't say that I'm like, you know, big, but I'm bigger than you are.
Uh-huh.
I'm not wearing a small. I wouldn't be able to get over that over my thighs. I struggle with anything that I've ever ordered from Rabbit. And I don't know what it is with Rabbit, but they just like, if I order my normal size, I wear large shirts, large shorts. They are just like extremely tight. And I don't know what it is. And it's funny that you mentioned that with Rabbit, them not working, because they wouldn't work for me either. But that's the one thing that I really liked about the John G tights that I got for the winter, the insulated tights. Those things fit so true to size. I had the large. They fit extremely well. They don't move. And so, you know, someone who has a belly and you're trying to get them like, you know, tight, you sometimes have to pull them up a little bit. Once you cinch those John G's down, they do not move. And so I'm excited to see your review and hear what your thoughts are on those half tights. If they're anything like the winter running tights that I had, oh my gosh, you're going to be in love with them.
Yeah, hopefully I get them next Friday so I can take them out for a run on Saturday. What are your thoughts on why a lot of people are switching over to the half tights?
You know, I don't know. Are a lot of people switching over to the half tights? I know you've always been a fan of them, and I just recently, the only reason I ever got half tights was from when I was on the team with Brooks, and they sent some, and you know, I kind of at first just wore them in my garage on the treadmill, and then I kind of got comfortable wearing them out. And you know, I've always worn tights like in the winter, but I first started off with like shorts over them, and then you know, now I'm just like I don't care anymore, so I just wear them out. But yeah, I don't know. Is that a thing? I haven't noticed a lot of people making the swap. You know, if I go race, I'm not going to wear half tights at my race. I don't know why. I mean, they're super comfortable, but I still find a lot of comfort in just regular shorts. I feel that I can, you know, because I just wear my normal boxer brief things underneath my shorts because I tear out all the liners. I don't ever use liners, but I don't know. Maybe I should just permanently make the swap to half tights.
Well, I know for me, you know, the Euros have been wearing them for a while. I always thought they were crazy.
Yeah, I know.
But you know, I one thing I would always look forward to running in the winter is putting on a pair of tights.
Yeah.
For me, I've been like paying attention why I'm liking the tights more. And there's no fabric rubbing. I know this just sounds a little ridiculous, but a lot of times my hands, especially with the poles, will rub on that fabric of the baggy part of the short, and it will catch.
Yeah.
That's like one thing I've noticed right out of the gate is there's none of that. And I'm a liner guy. And with these right tights, you don't need a liner because they're already built into it.
Yeah.
That's why I think I like tights so much, because they're already kind of, made with a liner in there. I know some people do wear compression or boxers underneath, but for me, I just, throw them on and go.
Yeah, for my winter tights, the Janjis, they do have a liner in there, but it's not to the effect of like shorts, where they had the liner. You can still wear underwear with them.
Yep.
And I do wear underwear with them because it's one extra layer. For my fellas out there that have ever run in extreme cold, if certain parts of you get cold, then you're going to appreciate that extra little layer that you have on. I made that mistake once or twice and never again. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, but those shorts or those pants are not like the one. You don't need to tear the liner out. It's kind of built in, but it's not. I mean, I could go without, but it still allows you to go with. But yeah, I would be intrigued to find out what those Janji ones are like. And then there's I know another brand that my buddy really likes is the Wallaco. So they look pretty fantastic too. But
yeah, I'm gonna buy a pair of those after looking at them.
Yeah.
And I've been doing a lot of looking. The Nike ones, the trail ones, they look pretty cool too. A lot of people like them because they go up higher.
Yeah.
And when you so they have, I don't know the exact dimensions, just for whatever, they have like 3 inches of a space like that goes, they're kind of like high rise, but that's all like a pocket that goes all the way around the whole tight. And people are saying you can like really get that part cinched up. Then the lower part's more compression around your hips, so you have like this kind of like a naked belt built into those that are a little different. So,
yeah, the only thing that I have to question about that waistband, and I have a pair of shorts that are waistband, and they don't work. And it's fact because I have a belly, and so that's where those should sit. But because it pushes it down, and it's so uncomfortable, and it's just awkward. And so if I'm going to buy a pair of shorts that have that built-in line, I want to do it in the waistband or below the waistband.
Yeah.
And
I can see that.
Yeah, I like shorts that are like that.
Yeah, I wish I could. Those Nike ones, they're not. I don't know who would sell those Nike trail shorts. I don't. I was looking online. The only place I can find them is like Running Warehouse and Nike themselves. Not like big commercial running places have them. The one drawback that I have found with tights though, is when you have to go to the bathroom. Like when you got normal shorts, you can just pull up the short and do your thing. These ones, like, you got to get some work to get them down. And you remember like when you were a little kid and you'd pull your pants down to your ankles?
Yeah, that's kind of how it is with tights.
Yeah, because they're so tight, right? They're like, I've noticed like if I really have to take a little detour off the trail and do my thing, I have to pull them all the way down to my ankles.
Funny. All the females that are listening to us right now feel so sorry for us.
Yeah, they're like, "Oh, you guys are finally just realizing this is what we always have to do." Like, right there with you.
That's funny. Yeah, I might get another pair. I will try them out and see what you think after this. So, hey, I wanted to ask you. I sent you a couple articles yesterday about the whole Aravaipa thing. So background, if you don't know about the Aravaipa thing, there was a runner that at the Black Canyon 100 back in February that took a slight detour off the trail and got aid. This was noticed by another runner, another professional runner. The runner that went off trail and took aid ended up finishing in 10th place. So, wasn't in contention of a golden ticket, but still 10th place at Black Canyon is pretty epic.
Yeah.
So it was reported Aravaipa, investigated. It took them about 3 months because it just came out, and they said that they gave him a 20-minute time penalty,
Yeah.
which put him from 10th place to 14th place.
Oh,
Now
4
here,
places.
yeah. Now here is the discrepancies that is kind of wild to me. Directly in their rules, it states if somebody is caught going off trail, cutting trail, or taking outside aid of an aid station, it will be an automatic disqualifier, right? The rules state right there in.
Yep.
Now with him going off trail, it was estimated that he probably took about 3 minutes off of his time. Now we're talking, he ran at 8 something, so 3 minutes is not that big of a deal, but it is, right? He broke the rules. So he got his 20-minute time hack time penalty instead of being disqualified. He's also a member of the Aravaipa running team. So do you think Aravaipa gave him some leniency because he's on the team? If Robbie was running this and Robbie is a mid-packer, finishing probably somewhere between 10 and 12 hours, do you think Robbie would have been disqualified or given a 20-minute hack? Like, what is their standard going forward with this? If somebody else is caught going off trail, are they penalized? Are they disqualified? What, they've set the standard already.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are, if it's in your rule book, someone deviates from the trail, doesn't go back to where they left the trail, and they're taking aid. So there's 2 whammies, right? He left the trail and he got aid outside of an aid station. And the bigger part is the guy was like sneaking him a bottle.
Uh-huh.
The guy that saw them sneaking a bottle, doing some shady shit. So there's like 2 things right there. He should be disqualified. That's just my gut feeling. That's what it says right in your rule book. Now look, 10th place at Black Canyon could get you some sponsorships. Let's not mess around, right? Could get you some sponsorships. It could get you some stuff. That race is what it is. It's a fast race now. 10th place is damn good. Being a part of the Aravaipa running team should not give him any leniency at all. And this is the way I think. Him being on the Aravaipa, they should have dug their feet in the ground and say, now they're letting their runners know that it's okay to do this. You know what I mean? They should have stuck their foot in the ground and said, not on our team, not at our races.
Yeah.
That's the way I feel. I don't know who the race director is for Black Canyon. Because, in that article, it says it did come down to the race director making that decision. Why it took so long and what's 20 minutes going to do? It took him to 14th.
Yeah.
Did his ultra sign up thing or his time just barely get moved now? Because it's too late, in my opinion.
Yeah.
If there was someone going through and going, who was top 10 at Black Canyon? Oh, this guy was. Let's reach out to him and see if we can make some deals or something, right?
Yeah.
3 months later, it could be already done.
Well, he won Canyons 100.
Oh, he did?
He won the Canyons 100, and it was also stated that multiple people saw him taking outside aid at Canyons. Now, there's no proof of it. There's actual proof at Black Canyons, but at the Canyons 100, which was recently ran a couple of weeks ago, they said multiple people. No one's come forward and said anything yet. It's like you get away with it once, you get a slap on the wrist. Like, how are you, you're not discrediting that individual, and he's probably going to continue to do it if he's just getting slapped on the wrist. Is he going to get kicked off the Aravaipa running team? Like, I don't know. To me, a precedence would have been obviously he should have been disqualified. It didn't matter who it is. If it's the very last person to cross the finish line or the first person to cross the finish line, that shouldn't matter. A. B, they should hold their team members to a higher standard.
Agreed. Totally agree.
And it should have been no question. But now they're going to be I don't know, they're forever going to be questioned because of the decisions they make. There is also the other side of that is they, had compassion. They showed some leniency, but I don't know. I get that I looked at the map and you can actually see that there's a map where the race runs straight and there's a little cut that little trail that like kind of cuts to the left, basically. I get that you make a turn, right? You're running super fast and your focus is just moving down the trail. I understand if you make a little cut and, without taking outside aid, like, who hasn't run a trail race that's gone off course? And
Right.
so, but most people like you and I, we go off course. What do? We turn around and go back.
Yep.
And so that was where the 20 minutes they gave him was because they said that had he turned around and gone back and got back on the original course, that's where he would have ended up.
But he wouldn't have been in 14th place.
He wouldn't have been in 14th place.
Who knows where he would have been at, right?
It's a DQ in my book, to be honest with you.
Me too.
Yeah.
When the whole Hard Rock thing happened too, and they made the right call.
Yeah, they disqualified him right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that was on the spot. They disqualified him.
Mm-hmm. Big name guy. Board got together, like, we can't have this.
Yeah.
And I think it was a speed goat when some European runners cut the switchbacks and they just went straight up. And I don't. So you used to be able to, the first person to the top would get an amount of money. And I think that year that they did not give that first person to get to the top because they cut the switchbacks. Then I remember the following year, it was like very stated, if you get caught cutting switchbacks, you're disqualified. There was just no ifs, ands, or buts, you're disqualified. That year that it happened wasn't like Europeans, they don't have switchbacks. They just cut them, right? If you all watch the races, they just cut the switchbacks. It's just a thing there. But it wasn't written in the rules very well that you couldn't cut switchbacks. So they didn't disqualify him that first year. They just didn't give him the prize money for being the first one to the top. But the following year, it was stated very, very finely, you cut switchbacks, you're disqualified. But this brings up another point too. If it was you or I that did that and we're just whatever, no one's ever going to know, right?
No.
If someone goes back to our Strava or whatever, something happens, they see it, nothing's going to happen. If these races are going to get more competitive, especially Black Canyon and with the golden ticket. And this is just me thinking, like, they're going to have to write in somewhere like top 10, under top 10 is going to get scrutinized, make sure their route's perfect, all that, whatever, right? I don't know what that number is. We could say the same thing about Western States, right? Because 10, they get in next year. Mm-hmm. The more the sport grows, I think they're going to have to, sit down and write the rules a little better, especially if there's going to start being more prize money. I don't know if there is. There was been some talk about, some races giving out more prize money, trying to get some bigger people over and stuff like that. But I don't have an answer for it. But if it's in your rule book, you got to hold up to your rule book.
Yeah. That's interesting that you mentioned the prize money. That's a weird thing to, kind of start doing because the sport we're limited on how many runners we can run, right? Yep. We're limited by permitting, the parks, whether they be state parks or, I guess they're all state parks. You can't run through national parks. So yep. The state parks or, BLM land or whatever the land may be only gives you a certain amount of people. So it's never going to draw, other than like some of the big ones like Western or Black Canyon or, some of these big, fast, competitive races. You're never going to have either the amount of people signing up for it or being able to participate or having the crowd or the viewers, maybe from a live stream. Like Cocodona's almost 10,000 live streamers. Western States is going to have a massive amount of live streaming. And it's like, those are going to draw crowds, right? Yep. Whether they be online or in person. And so I get prize money there. Black Canyon has a very mass amount of people that run that race because their permitting has just been amazing.
Yep.
So those are two races, Javelina, maybe one of those as well. Some of those Arizona based races, but I mean, the majority of races that I've run have been a 300 person max.
Yeah.
And so like, how do you get the monetary value to start matching some of these road marathons that give out however much money, 30, 50, $100,000? It's like, and some of these, like Western States is a nonprofit, their buckle cost more than the race entry. And so like, how do you, where do you start pulling money from to do prize money?
Yeah. It would all have to be all corporation sponsors.
So we're talking like Lifetime, UTMB.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hoka,
Well, I
who
mean,
knows?
Hoka's already a sponsor for like they're already a sponsor for
UTMB.
Javelina, Western.
Yeah, a bunch
Are
of
they
them,
Black
right?
Canyon too?
Yeah, I think they're Black Canyon.
Yeah.
One thing I think that could happen in the future too is big money at backyards, because they can be
Okay.
held on private land.
Okay, I could see that.
And it's easy, right?
Yeah, you have a 4-mile loop, you're good.
Yeah. And if it's on someone's private land, they can bring as many people as they want. They can restrict what they want. They can do whatever the hell they want.
You're still going to be limited by space, though. Even if it is, like, you're not going to have
Correct
30,000 runners in somebody's field.
Correct. But I guess my thought thing is like, say, I'm just going to throw numbers out there. They don't mean anything. The first place gets $100,000.
Yeah.
To who, last man standing, because that's what it is, right? Well, all the badass backyarders are gonna be like, I'm gonna go try to win $100,000. So just say you have 30 of them, all throwing down for that.
A way that you could do it is you use bigs. So bigs
right.
is, that's the championship.
Yeah.
So if you're not familiar, so you run I guess a bronze level backyard. If you win a bronze level backyard, you get invited to a silver. If you win a silver, you get invited to bigs. Yep. And then bigs is just the overall competition that Laz runs, and but that would be a way to do prize money, because that's the championship of all backyards.
Yeah.
Now there are a bunch of backyards that aren't medal related or silver golds. They're just thrown together backyards. And so I don't know. That would be a way though, I guess.
Yeah, and it's just Spartan and Tough Mudder. There's a little bit of money in those things. I don't know where they get the money from.
Are those more popular than ultras?
That's a good question. I don't know.
I don't know.
Like,
we're still limited by the amount of people that can participate. That's the thing. And I think Spartans, they get a lot of people that participate on a given day. And multiple distances through the day.
And they're usually all on private property.
Yeah, it's true.
They're usually like the one here in Rapid City is at the National Guard. It's nothing big.
Yeah.
But it's held on the National Guard property. The one I did Tough Mudder, it was held at Beaver Creek in Colorado. Mm-hmm. It was held on a resort. So they were able to control everything. It's just going to be interesting because the problem with 100 miler, it couldn't be all on. We already know, unless someone's got a badass property that's that big with the trail going through it, right? Or it could even just be 50 miles out and back. I don't. It's also getting to be a weird part where people, this whole, we got to be the stewards of the land and take care of the land, and people going out and, 300 runners on a 50-mile trail out and back, the damage it does to that. Me, myself, look, the reason we got to where we are today is because, my family traveled across with a handcart, wagons, and they got here. We're nomads. We were meant to use these trails. We were meant to use this land. I don't know why we got to gatekeep the land for who. You know what I mean? That goes into like another whole political thing, but it's also coming down to like hearing a lot about races, with Cocodona and the owl.
Yeah.
I get it. what is a pacer going to do? So you got 2 people now in that section.
Yeah. My thought process. Yeah, I'm 100% on board with you. Like, one person is not going to disturb it, but 2 people are.
Yeah. Like, do we know?
I mean, I get their idea behind it. You're doubling the amount of people that are on the trail.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I understand that, that's a way they're still allowing people to run the race, but
Mhm.
you're cutting down on the amount of people that are on the trail. I understand that, but
Yep.
at the same time, like, one person's not going to disturb it, but 2 will. Yeah.
What if
I don't know.
What if there's people are all grouped together and there's 10 of them all together?
And I know a lot of people did do that because they
did,
knew that
right?
they couldn't have pacers for that 16-mile section. So a lot of people just sat at that aid station and waited for other people to go, and they all grouped up and ran together.
That was a big thing this year.
Yeah, it was a huge thing. And so, boom, now you got 10 people at that point probably walking together.
Yeah, right.
Unless
Instead
you're
of
the
maybe
front
you
of the
had
pack.
10 people, 5 with their pacers spread out. I don't know. There's no right answer. It's just, I know there's been a lot of talk about damage that we do, but
Well, that's the whole point of Western States. That's why the numbers are still what they are, because there's I believe, a 5-mile section that runs through this particular part of land that they haven't been able to negotiate higher numbers.
Mhm.
But it's only like 5 miles. I get you can't reroute it, but it's 5 miles.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wish, not just because I'm trying to get into Western, but I wish that they could negotiate higher numbers than that. 370 people is a pretty small amount for a race that it's that size. Do you think the anticipation to run that race would be as high as it is now if they allowed 1,000?
Well, that's a very good question.
Because if they allow 1,000 people in, your odds of getting in are obviously a lot sooner.
Mhm.
And so, would it be that much of a? I feel like they build up the lottery, right? And we're we're chained to that lottery every year, trying to see if my name gets drawn. But
It's like the lure to get in, right? It's
it is. Honestly, it's more exciting, I think, to get in than maybe to run the race.
I get that. I mean, you think about UTMB. I don't know how many people run that whole week on those trails.
3,000 that run just the actual 100-miler.
So, I mean, and how many, there's all those other races going on for that whole week.
There's got to be 10 to 15,000 people that run. I would say there's tons of people that run that race.
I don't know why here in the United States we're worried about people's footsteps.
I don't know, man. I don't know. And it's not that hard to get into UTMB.
No.
I mean, I think if you run one qualifying race, you have a pretty good shot at getting in.
Yeah, I don't know what the odds are on that.
I haven't looked. I'll run it one day, but I haven't really done my research too much on it. I've been so focused on Western.
Well, it makes me think here in Rapid City, then you've been over to where the amphitheater is.
Yeah.
This super cool amphitheater they built back, I think it was in the 40s. I don't know how the hell they did it. I feel sorry for the people that had to work on the thing. But they pretty much essentially carved seats into this side of this hill, and then had a stage down at the bottom. And the mountain bike group here in Rapid City got the okay to put a downhill course right through there. And like, I get it. We all need that, but it looks like shit. It just, you see the big berms. Like, it used to look up at the side of the hill and you can still see the seats carved into the rock. Now you see berms and big jumps, and cool. I understand that part, but it's like, why do we have, it's okay for, mountain biking's pretty big here in Rapid City, and they go through all the stuff to get everything done. But there isn't a big trail community here. And it's like this back and forth between the two, and we all just want to share the trails. Same like with over at M Hill, like they have that downhill section that, people aren't supposed to hike up. I've ran up it multiple times because it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
I just don't understand why we have this divide, and why is it okay for this one group to go and bring in, machinery to tear up the side of the hill to put in a mountain bike track in. But for other people that just want to walk or run, we're doing something different. I don't know. Maybe I'm just ranting here.
Disturbing the land when the trail is wet. You can't leave a footprint, Robbie.
I know. You can't. Yeah.
Oh, that cracks me up. How's your training been?
I'm running more. I got out for. I did another loop yesterday, 15-mile loop. So last week I got 30 miles in 2 days.
Nice.
Then my daughter, it was her last week of school, last week of 8th grade, and extremely busy with that, picking her up and dropping her off and doing all kinds of things. And it's been raining since Friday here. Weather's been kind of cold. Got out yesterday. Like you were talking about, it was humid and like I was having a hard time breathing. I think the air was just like so thick or something. I was just kind of felt like shit. I woke up with a headache, so got out there, and after 10 miles, I felt great. It's Memorial Day weekend, so there was a whole lot of people on the trail.
That's not a bad thing. We want to encourage people to get out.
Oh, no.
Be on the trail for sure.
I love it when there's people on the trail. Because there's a section where I drop down to the lake, you go down to Sylvan Lake, then I get on 4, and those people that are coming up to go to the summit, I go down, then I'm going up 4, and sometimes we'll meet back, and they'll be like, didn't I see you going back down to your car? I wasn't going to my car. Here I am.
That's funny.
Yeah. But it was, I had this other cool experience yesterday too. So where you split off to go to the top of Honey Peak. I get there, and there's 4 horses right there. I've never seen horses up that high. I've seen them down lower by Willow Creek, and I know you can ride your horses all the way up, even up towards the summit. You can just tie them off, right? So I'm like, and they're across the trail, and a lady standing there. I'm like, are you guys going up or down? She's like, oh, we're waiting for our kids. They're up at the summit. I was like, well, can I sneak by you? I'm going down. She's like, oh yeah, no problem. She's like, your horses won't bother you. So I got 2 like asses in my face. And what have we always been taught? Don't
Never
walk behind a horse.
them.
Like I was like this far away from the horse's tail.
Oh gosh.
Because there's the horses are pretty big. The trail is pretty narrow right there. She's like, the horses won't bother you. Don't worry. I'm like, oh, this could be the end of my life right now.
You're about to get kicked off the mountain.
Yeah. So I go by. Horses didn't even move. Like I had to put my hands on the horse because I had to go like this to get by because that's,
gosh.
And horses didn't even flinch. I get over there and she's like, you probably have to call your dog. Lucy's like never been up that close to a horse. And so she didn't know what to do. She's like trying to run up the trail, then run down the trail. Then finally she just ran up the side and got by the horses. But it was quite funny to see horses up there. Then she decided to impel herself on a stick. She loves chasing chipmunks and get down to the car. And I usually kind of look at her when we're done, She likes to hurt herself quite a bit. And I look and I see blood. I'm like, okay. I'm like, I'll just wait till I get home, clean it off, get home and we get in the shower. I'm washing her off and she starts whining. I look down, there's a big old flap of skin just hanging off her chest.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, good job, dog. This is so the last time on her belly, she probably cut like 5-inch little cut in her belly. That one blood is quite good. She was hurting from that one. I don't blame her, but I got to figure out something like some kind of like vest, like carbon vest or something. So when she goes blasting into the stick, she doesn't get cut open.
That's funny. They do have those, like, people wear those. I don't know if they're like obviously not carbon vests, but people do put their dogs into those.
Yeah, like a lot of hunting dogs, like
Yeah, hunting
pheasant
dogs wear
dogs,
those,
they'll
yeah.
wear those things. I've seen a lot of German Shorthairs wear them. So I'm probably just gonna have to find something.
I'm sure there's
But
something out there you can
yeah, it
put
didn't
her
even
in.
phase her. I'm like, she's got a big old chunk of skin just hanging there, and didn't even phase her. I'm just like, dog loves chipmunks.
That's awesome. That's
But
great.
so what are you 2 weeks out from?
Yeah. What? 3
3.
as of yesterday. 3 weeks.
Wait, so was
So
it yesterday? Was this your peak weekend?
it was, yeah. I did a marathon yesterday on trails, and then I did 14 today. I did it on the treadmill, but I cranked up the elevation a little bit. So yesterday's marathon felt great. I fueled great. I did not have as much salt as I probably should have. So I went with my larger pack, and all of my salt and all that other stuff was in my smaller pack. And so I left the house without it. But I'm going to use my larger pack during the race. And so I forgot to transfer everything over. So I didn't have as much salt as I would have liked to have had. And it was humid. And so I kind of paid the price on that. But yeah, the training run went great. You know, a marathon on trails is, not the easiest thing to do, but I wouldn't say it was all on trails. There was probably about a 5-mile section where we kind of looped around on like a gravel path. But for the most part, it was trails. Yeah, it went great, and did 14 today on the treadmill. Like I said, cranked up the elevation a little bit. So I think it ended up with like a 67, 68-mile week.
Oh.
Yeah, happy with it. Feeling pretty good. I do have a little bit of like lower leg issue, and it's just contributed from like tight calves. So I've just been trying to really kind of nurse the calves a little bit. But yeah, feeling good for the race. It's supposed to be kind of hot, humid. So I've been using the sauna a lot. I bought one of those little cheap zip up sauna type deals, and
How does that work?
yeah, it's pretty good. It has a little like a little contraption. You put water in, it boils the water, and the steam runs through this line and just dumps out into the sauna. So it doesn't get like as hot as what a traditional sauna would get, but it's well over 100 degrees. I just don't know. It doesn't have a thermometer or anything to tell you like how hot it is in there, but I'm sweating in there. So
I'm good.
It's enough to do what I need it to do. It's not going to be over 100 for the race, knock on wood, but
Yeah.
I think the forecast is showing about 80 degrees. And that's kind of the typical, but coming from Alaska where yesterday I ran, it was 40 degrees in the morning when we were running. So it's been getting hotter. I think it's 64 right now. So I know people are like, oh, that's not hot, but to us that is blazing hot.
That's hotter than Rapid City right now.
Yeah. So it's been getting hotter. But this morning was actually a pretty good run because I was in the garage and there's no airflow. I think it was like 60 something in my garage. And so it was a good little test to sweat it out a little bit. But yeah, feeling good. Starting to taper from here. And then we go pick up our buckle in a couple of weeks. And then maybe taking a couple weeks off and just let the body rest and relax a little bit and pick it back up for cowboy training.
Yeah, I think I've been thinking about cowboy training, and like 200 miles is 200 miles. It's going to be flat. It's going to be hot. It's going to be all that. And I keep thinking to myself, well, I should just go run flat, but I don't enjoy that.
Yeah.
So I think I'm just going to train as I normally would. It's not going to hurt. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, I'm with our walk run thing. I'll be pretty conditioned to that just by doing what I'm doing now. I am going to throw in some running to work, running to and from work, which is 6 miles each way, so it'll be 12-mile days.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a run walk type thing too. There, I'm not going to go blaze them out, each way. Because who was it we had? I think it was Steve, and he had some issues, where he was a little injured or something, and he was trying to train flatter, but I'm like, I don't enjoy that, so
Yeah.
might as well do what I want to do.
No, I think that you know, miles are miles. If you're
Mhm.
training on hills and you're getting, you know, elevation almost every run, I think that's going to do nothing but benefit when you go to run flat. So
Yeah, and with our it wouldn't benefit if I was going to go as fast as I could, right?
no,
Because I wouldn't have those legs.
but I think with our strategy, it's going to work fine.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah.
All right, man. Well, let's end this guy. If you like this podcast, please leave us a comment, leave us a review. Go check out our YouTube channel, and of course, we'll see you on the trails.